Hi, and welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Linda McNamee, in for Phil Gallagher. Happy holidays to everyone, and for those of you who celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. The Supreme Judicial Court of Massachusetts upheld the 2013 jury findings and subsequent sentence of life in prison of Christopher Piantedosi on Monday after an appeal was filed by his attorneys. Piantedosi was found guilty of the May 3, 2012 murder of his longtime girlfriend, Christian Policiano, in their rented home at 23 Forbes Avenue. Piantedosi was 40 years old at the time, and Policiano was 38. The couple had a 15-year-old daughter at the time. Policiano also had an older teenage son that the couple was raising. As reported on BNews, police responded to the home at approximately 6:45 p.m. after the victim's daughter alerted them that her father had attacked her mother. According to subsequent reports, Piantedosi was at the home to visit his daughter when he got into an argument with the victim. He reportedly pulled out a knife and placed it on a table, after which the victim picked it up and told him to leave or she would call the police. Piantedosi then walked into the kitchen, grabbed another knife, and attacked the victim. The victim was found between the daughter's bed and a wall. She had been stabbed more than 30 times. In the appeal, Piantedosi's lawyers said the jury should have found him not guilty by reason of insanity. During the initial trial, the defendant called on Dr. Wade Myers, a forensic psychiatrist who had examined Piantedosi, who said he believed the defendant did not have the capacity to appreciate the wrongfulness of his conduct and was not able to conform his conduct to the requirements of the law. To back up this claim, Myers pointed to the fact that the defendant had recently been released from a mental hospital. He also said that Piantedosi had recently been prescribed the antidepressants Prozac and Trazodone, which he said made him suffer from involuntary intoxication. In the appeal, Piantedosi's attorneys argued that this evidence, along with what they claim was the improper handling of evidence supplied by a state expert on the defendant's physiological condition, meant the Supreme Judicial Court should rule that the murder be second degree rather than first, and that he be found not guilty on conditions of insanity. The Supreme Judicial Court ruled that improper use of evidence or jury instructions were not found to have impacted the jury decision, and that the original conviction would stand. Burlington School Committee addressed a report on one of the high school's revolving funds that was critical on the procedures in place and how some funds were handled. BNews Director Rich Hosford was at the meeting and has this report.
A good number of people were at the December 19, 2017 school committee meeting at Burlington High School. The reason? An August 2017 report from the public accounting firm Roselli, Clark & Associates detailing issues with the high school's Music and Performing Arts Revolving Fund. The most attention-grabbing part of the report was a look at the deficits from the past 2 years and the expected deficit from FY 2018. The report shows a deficit in FY18 of $80,237. That number attracted the attention of residents, parents, and town meeting members who wanted to know what was going on. Superintendent of Schools Eric Conti started by explaining that the large number seen in the report reflects a fund that was not brought up to date as is normally done to allow the reviewers to see the full deficit.
Even if the revolving account was in the negative after 15 and 16, we would have closed that out again through the warrant process at the end of the year, similar to what we would agree to with the cafeteria. So the negatives don't accumulate. The reason that the negative from 17 is being carried to 18 is because we really took no action because we had agreed to, in the spring of 17, do a review between the subcommittee of Ways and Means and the subcommittee of the school committee. So again, no action was taken. And again, as we stated at our meetings before, again, the account was left where we normally wouldn't have left it, so that the reviewer would sort of look at everything and sort of we would see it in its, I guess, worst possible light. I don't know how else to say that.
Conti said the biggest driver of the deficit was the Burlington Community Concert Series that was started a couple of years ago. The funds collected in ticket sales, the report explains, never covered the cost of the performances and expenses associated with hosting the program.
So we had the auditors look at it, and basically what jumps out is the community concert series didn't pay for itself, which is unfortunate because it was a great program. And that is mostly what accounts for this particular deficit, right?
Yeah.
Another finding critical of procedures related to the Music and Performing Arts Funds was how in-person ticket sales, those sold at the school prior to the performance and those sold at the door, were collected and tracked. One issue was that in order to avoid a fee for unsold tickets, the school department would print, quote, comp tickets and sell them at the door. However, since there are different fees for students and seniors compared to adults, it was difficult to reconcile the amounts at the end of the night. Conti said the procedure has been changed.
So for the fall play, we've added a second ticket selling station. So there are two instead of one. We're not pre-printing any tickets anymore, and we're taking full information down for the people who are purchasing walk-in tickets.
The Roselli and Clark report also took issue with a cash box used for tickets sold at the door and how that money was handled.
The another finding in the report, I think at the very end, was at the end of the night, a cash box with $200 was set aside and put in the music office safe, and that's no longer happening. The change box is being signed out of the business office and is being assigned and then turned back into the business office. So there's no cash box that's being held one night to the other. They have to come back to the business office.
The school department has put a plan together to reconcile the negative findings in the report. Over the next month, they will be meeting with the town auditor to work out the details and will be voting on a new policy in the near future, most likely in January. For the time being, school committee members wanted to stress that at this time, there has been no indication that any of the shortcomings found in the report were due to any kind of bad intentions among anyone involved.
I don't think anything. I mean, I've heard some suggestions out there that there might have been some nefarious intentions here. I don't think anyone ever had any bad intentions about handling these funds. It's just the way it had been done historically over the years. No one had ever suggested that it be done any differently until we had this audit from Roselli and Clark, and they suggested that we ought to do it and approach it in a different manner, and that's what we're going to do, because we want to have best practices. We've always talked about that over the years, and I think that's what we're aiming for now.
At Burlington High School, I'm BNEWS Director Rich Hosford.
Thank you, Rich. In a split decision, the Board of Selectmen voted to revoke the liquor license of a business that owns a restaurant in town that has been closed for roughly a year, a move that could potentially put a deal in the making for a new restaurant in jeopardy. During Monday night meeting, the board voted 3-2 to revoke the license from the closed Bonefish Grill location due to inactivity. Selectman Joe Morandi, also board vice chair, Jim Tigas and Mike Runyon voted in favor of the revocation, and Chairman Chris Hartling and Selectman Bob Hogan voted against the action. As reported on BNEWS, the license was up for the revocation hearing due to the fact that the restaurant had been closed since January and the town had not received sufficient information on what Bonefish's parent company, Bloomin' Brands, planned to do with it. During the board's last meeting in November, an attorney for the restaurant group said it was currently looking for another company to transfer the license to. An attorney representing Darden Restaurants, a large restaurant group with many well-known entities under its umbrella, said one of those entities, Yard House, an American sports bar chain, was in negotiations to purchase the license from Bloomin' Brands. He said Darden was looking to open a Yard House at the current site of Chili's at 108 Middlesex Turnpike, but it first needed to be sure it would have a liquor license for the project before signing any lease agreement. BNews has not independently verified Chili's is closing despite reaching out to its media relations office. Members of the board expressed some frustration at how long the license had been out of commission and therefore not contributing to the town's meal tax, and also at how little firm commitments there were for this proposed plans.
These have been problematic to me for years. These are not baseball cards we're talking about. These are liquor licenses, and it's our responsibility to determine where they go. I don't like the fact that this one is being offered and auctioned off to the highest bidder at some location out of our control. I agree with Joe. I'd like to call it in. I'd like them to surrender this license, put it back in our inventory, and perhaps put a hold on it for a period of time until Wilder give them an opportunity to find a tenant for that license on their space.
In the end, the board was faced with revoking the license, continuing the hearing to a future meeting, or renewing the license. Selectman Joe Morandi made the motion to revoke it and bring the license back under town control. The 3-2 vote approved the measure. The issue is likely not over, however. Town Administrator John Petrin pointed out that the restaurant group would be able to appeal the decision at the state's Alcohol Beverages Control Commission. During the discussion, the attorney said that if the license was revoked, he would be forced to do exactly that. If that happens, the town will need to use town council to defend the Board of Selectmen's decision. A long-time anticipated new restaurant in town has been given another month to show definite signs of progress in its march toward opening or risk losing its liquor license. Burlington Beer Works, which was approved to move into the former Outback Steakhouse in January of 2016, was before the Board of Selectmen on Monday for a liquor license revocation hearing. The hearing was approved by the board at its last meeting in November, when it brought 3 businesses with liquor licenses that weren't being used before the board for explanations. Attorney Paul Sporn, who was representing Beer Works owner Joseph Slezer of Slezer Brothers Brewing Company, said the reason for the delay was finishing up the building permit process. He said currently the Board of Health is requiring the business get a variance from the planning board for a grease trap provision. He said they are scheduled to be before the planning board on Thursday, January 9th for the variance. Sporn said all the other paperwork has been filed and all the fees have been paid. Still, board members were unhappy with how long the project has taken to get started. Selectman Jim Tigas pointed out that when Sporn was before the board on November 27th, he had said that by the revocation hearing, they would be ready to start construction immediately. Sporn said the holdup was the issue with the grease traps and the variance should be settled in January. In the end, the board voted to give the project another month by continuing the hearing to the meeting on Monday, January 22nd. At that time, selectmen said they expected to have a date for when work would begin. Sporn said they were required to start within 10 days of receiving the building permit per an agreement with the landlord, so would likely have work underway shortly after the planning board meeting. Girl Up is a global organization that envisions a world where every girl can live up to their utmost potential. A host of Burlington High School students have joined the Girl Up cause, and while giving their time and effort to help underprivileged girls in other parts of the globe, are empowering themselves as well. BNEWS reporter Tad Stefanak has their story.
Advocating the cause of equality of the sexes is no small task in the United States and around the world, now and ever since. Burlington High School students, Jessica Goober and Mia Campbell, have inspired a group of BHS students to this cause for change with Girl Up, a club recognized by the United Nations.
My friend Mia and I went to the Women's March last year in New York. We went to that one.
We're in New York and we went to the Women's March and we're like, this is awesome. Yay, female empowerment. This is great.
That one, and it was an amazing way to see how empowering women all around us and just a really good feeling and vibe, and I wanted to see if I could bring that feeling and vibe into my community.
So almost a year later, Jessie was like, I found this really cool club like around the country. It's called Girl Up. you should be a part of it. And I was like, that's awesome. Let's start it. Like, this is great.
They kind of give girls a structure of a club that they could implement into their own community.
I can't lie. Like, I heard of it because Jessie's my friend, and and she sort of invited me to come to one of the meetings. But what I really stayed for, I guess you could say, was I really like how they sort of put like concrete things to feminism. Like, I feel like right now, like feminist is sort of like a bad word. Like, people get like offended, or like it's controversial to be a feminist. But I think honestly, like, being a feminist is really what like this club is about. Like, providing like funds for organizations specifically for girls, and recognizing that, yeah, like girls really are at a disadvantage for some things.
Right now we are selling yarn in little balls that are pre-packaged, and you can knit a square of yarn. What we're trying to do is knit these squares for, and then collect the square, sell the yarn, have you knit a square, collect the squares back, and then put them into blankets and give the blankets to Rosie's Place, which is a organization which helps women in the winter. So if you see this over the holidays, you have free time, it's a great time to get knitting needles, knit some squares. We would love for you to be a part of our project.
Girl Up is not only making generous donations to Rosie's Place, but taking their endeavor internationally.
Specifically, we are doing something called School Cycle, where we provide bicycles for girls who can't get to school in other countries.
Underprivileged girls that get to school, they buy bicycles for them so they can find a way to get to school.
And that's going really well, actually. That's what we're mostly focusing most of our money towards right now.
I would really like people to know that we are a club that is really trying to make change in our world. We are so privileged to have such an amazing education, be provided with our public education is so amazing, and I feel like it is so unfair that girls in other countries are deprived of an education just because they were born a girl.
You can help and you can make a difference by either like writing letters to like, you know, like the senators or people in the government to help like people in the United States put girls at more of an advantage and get more opportunities. But you can also see just at like what a disadvantage and what like it means to sort of be a woman in other countries. Like, you look at like the Middle East, and like, you know, it's really like crazy over there if you really look at the culture and how like women are treated. Like, I know that one country just got like women to drive, which is crazy, I think.
BHS Girl Up meets every other Wednesday.
I just think that it would be so amazing if people could reach out to us, get involved, even if they don't want to join our club. The next time they see a Girl Up advertisement or something, come to an event. We're welcoming everyone.
Girl Up's efforts are making a positive impact locally, globally, and with its members.
It's a great club. Anyone can join. It's just like a really great group of people.
I would say that if you really want to make a concrete difference in society and in girls' lives, I would say that you should join, because it's really nice to see like a visual of what like feminism really is, and see that it shouldn't be so controversial to be a feminist.
Just keep your eyes out for Girl Up, because we'll be all around. And if you have anyone who is interested in your community that you know of, tell them to come to a meeting and they can just see what it's like. Also, if you're in the high school, you can look in the English hall. There's a board that has like when we meet, and also they're usually on the announcements when we meet.
From the Burlington High School English Department and outside the cafeteria, I'm BNEWS reporter Tad Stefanak. Back to you in the studio.
Is that the one from my bag? Yeah. Okay. That one's really nice.
Thank you, Tad. People will have a little more time to buy wine for their Christmas dinners or beer for their New Year's Eve parties this year. On Monday, the Board of Selectmen, which controls the hours liquor stores have to close on Sundays, voted to extend the store's hours of operation for Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. Normally, all liquor sales at stores must stop at 6 p.m. on Sunday per town regulations. However, since both Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve fall on Sundays this year, members of the board thought it would benefit shoppers to have more time to pick up their last-minute libations. The board voted 5-0-0 to allow liquor stores to stay open until 11 p.m. on New Year's Eve on Sunday, December 31st. Board members were not so like-minded when it came to Christmas Eve. They voted 3-2 to allow liquor stores to stay open until 8 p.m. on Sunday, December 24th. Selectman Joe Morandi, Jim Tigas, and Mike Runyon were in favor, and Selectman Bob Hogan and Chairman Chris Hartling were against. The Burlington Parks and Recreation Department held their very first gala at the Hilton Garden Inn. The event was the final event to commemorate their 50th anniversary celebration. BNews reporter Robert Paris was there and has this report.
A room full of past and present members of the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department were joined by members of the public for a special night of dancing, food, and appreciation. On Thursday, December 14th, the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department held their first ever gala at the Hilton Garden Inn. This was the final event to commemorate the Rec's 50th anniversary celebration.
The gala is a culmination of our 50th anniversary events. We did one special event a month starting last January, and this is the culmination. And along with this gala is our first induction into the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department Hall of Fame.
The Rec has broadened their horizons this year with new events while improving on the traditional favorites.
It's incredible what the staff has put on this year. We already do awesome events. You celebrate Burlington, the Winter Carnival. We've done all these things already, and then this year we added 12 more events. It's incredible undertaking by the staff, and this is the highlight tonight with the gala, and it's a great turnout. This is awesome.
It was a long process of deciding who gets to become inducted in the first annual Parks and Recreation's Hall of Fame.
It was a lengthy process, over 5 months, and we really felt it was best to honor those individuals, recreation commissioners, employees, volunteers that were around from the beginning and responsible for the solid foundation that the Parks and Recreation Department sits on today.
I got a chance to speak with some of the inductees and some of the achievements they have accomplished at the Recreation Department.
Probably the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. The rewards were far more than I think the efforts that I put into it. It was a wonderful experience for me. I really enjoyed what I did.
When I was a kid, I always hoped to be inducted to a Hall of Fame. Of course, I was thinking of the National Football League Hall of Fame or the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. That's what kids think about, right? Well, when you have to get a real job and you find a career that you love, and then you're inducted into the Hall of Fame for being a recreation director and in a job that I love, then that's a tremendous honor and probably better than being in the National Football League Hall of Fame.
Finally, let's take a moment to appreciate all the people who have made the Recreation Department for what it is today.
I think they took away an appreciation for what their family members did to create such a solid Parks and Recreation Department.
The Recreation Department is probably one of the best things in town. Everyone talks about the Recreation Department, Our job is to make people's lives better, bring smiles to their faces, and then just make it a better place to live, Burlington.
Well, it's really an honor because of what the Recreation Department represents to the community, and to be part of that, and to be in the early parts of the Recreation Department in developing programs, working with such wonderful people and so forth. So it's really special.
Tonight's event was the culmination of a year of 50th anniversary events, and I think it was a fitting end to the anniversary year, and to honor some of the people who helped develop the Recreation Department, I think was a wonderful thing, and I certainly appreciated it myself.
From the Hilton Garden Inn, I'm Robert Paris for BNews Weekly.
Love the balloons. Thank you, Robert. The Burlington Board of Selectmen were happy to welcome a longtime town employee to a new role on Monday evening. During the meeting, Town Administrator John Petrin, at the recommendation of Department of Public Works Director John Sanchez, appointed Richard Reed as the new Buildings and Cemetery Superintendent. The current superintendent, Paul Caldwell, has announced he will retire early in the new year. Reed has worked for the Town of Burlington Department of Public Works for over 30 years. During that time, has served in the Central Maintenance, Highway, Cemetery, Water Department, and Water Divisions, and settling in the Cemetery Division in 2002. In 2014, Mr. Reed became lead foreman for buildings and cemeteries as a result of the merging of facilities with cemeteries. Sanchez said Reed is a dedicated town employee who strives to complete the tasks at hand and who has been one of the main reasons in the success of the Building Maintenance Department merging with the Cemetery Division of the department. He has extensive experience in cemetery operations and building maintenance and a clear sense of direction and purpose. Members of the Board of Selectmen were happy to see the appointment made and unanimously waived the 15-day waiting period for new hires and promotion. Petrin also said he was happy to make the appointment.
And our Public Works is top-notch. You know, I will pit them against anybody. And so this is one of those times where, you know, a lot of the appointments, entry-level appointments, I'm not really knowing these people. These, you know, these folks are being interviewed by department heads, are being recommended and coming through. But this is one appointment taking a lot of pride in tonight and you know, really enjoying making this appointment. So with the recommendation of Mr. Sanchez, I hereby appoint Richie Reed as superintendent, and that is a great appointment, and I'm hoping the board will waive its 15-day waiting period at this time.
Congratulations. That's what you appreciate it.
Nice job.
Thank you, sir. We have a great department, and you guys all appreciate it. Thanks, Rich. You got him?
A Burlington-based development company has purchased the former home of the Boston Globe. Nordblum Company, in partnership with Alcyon Ventures, announced today that they have purchased 135 Morrissey Boulevard, a 700,000 square foot building on 16.5 acres in Boston. The Globe left the Morrissey Boulevard building in June to move to State Street in Boston. The site enjoys near adjacency to the MBTA's Red Line JFK UMass station and abuts Interstate 93, providing excellent highway access and visibility, the release states. It was first constructed by the Boston Globe in 1958. The property is considered an enduring icon in its neighborhood of Boston. Winter has officially arrived, and to see what that means for the week ahead, we go now to BNEWS weatherman Peter Brown for the latest forecast. We'll also check out the community calendar with Maddie Shipka to see what's going on around town.
Well, hello everyone, and this is Peter Brown with a look at your weather for the next 7 days. And of course, this is a very important forecast coming up, that's for sure, as we're heading into the very busy Christmas weekend, and then we'll be looking ahead towards New Year's. I know it's been going by very quickly. 2017 is almost done. As we're heading towards the end of the year, we are going to once again be seeing average temperatures below normal. That's something we've seen quite a bit of since the start of November, so that's definitely nothing new. Now, we're going to be a little bit far away from these record highs, unfortunately for us. Doesn't look like we're going to be seeing any temperatures in the 60s like we saw in the past couple of previous Christmases. Looks like it's going to be kind of chilly and kind of stormy. And of course, heading towards the end of the period, getting up towards New Year's almost, when you see our average highs keep going down, temperature's only supposed to be in the mid-30s, and we're actually probably going to be significantly cooler than that. And of course, as you notice right here, our days are actually now we'll be starting to get a little bit longer. So that's the great news. That's the silver lining as we head in towards winter. Now, as we move ahead, I'm going to show you a little bit what's going to be going on with our pattern for the next 7 days. Now, looking at this map right here, does look like, yeah, there is some messy weather heading for us here in the Burlington area. And this is going to be starting out, unfortunately, on Friday and may stick with us all the way through Christmas Day. So if you have any last-minute shopping you have to do or traveling to friends or family's houses, there is going to be a little bit of kink in all of your plans, that's for sure. And unfortunately, these high pressure centers that we see up here in Canada are going to be playing a role in that. We're actually going to see quite a bit of cold air coming down into our area starting on Friday. And as we see this weak storm system passing by to our west, we're going to start out with actually a little bit of light snow on Friday, and that could bring us maybe as much of a dusting to as maybe even as many as 2 inches of snow here in the Burlington area, especially if you're going out to parties late on Friday night. Keep that in mind. We think it's going to be kind of slippery out there on the roads. However, this warm front is going to come up over us and try and bring us into some much warmer air as we get into Saturday. And whether or not that does happen or not, it does look like we are going to have a pretty healthy dose of rain here as we get into Saturday. It's when, however, we get into Christmas Eve and to Christmas Day when this storm will pass us by and the cold front is going to come in behind. Storm is going to slow down a little bit as it heads up towards Maine and into southeastern Canada, and that could bring again a chance of maybe some freezing rain and snow as we get into Christmas Day. So bear in mind, we do have some unfortunately rough weather ahead for the next 4 or 5 days, and that does include all of the travel days, unfortunately. Now, as we go ahead, I'm going to show you another graphic that maybe will be able to lighten your spirits a little bit. This is the average of and chances of us being able to see a white Christmas in all the different areas of the United States, at least in the contiguous 48 states. And if you notice up here in our area, up in the Burlington area, we usually actually only see about a 30% chance of seeing a white Christmas each year. And of course, what happens on Christmas Eve and into Christmas morning may dictate we may actually be able to pull out a white Christmas after all. So that's going to be something to watch out for as Santa's heading towards your house. As we go ahead, let me show you a little bit about those 7-day temperatures coming up. As you notice here, these first few days of the 7-day forecast, kind of messy, unfortunately. It doesn't look like we're going to have too much warm weather except for on Saturday. And again, of course, on Friday, we're going to start out with that chance of snow as we get in towards the afternoon. Again, just light accumulations. Again, could be as little as a dusting, maybe as much as 2 inches, but nothing to really derail any of your travel plans. Again, as we get into Saturday, we'll see that warm front come up over the Burlington area and the rest of southern New England, and we may see temperatures actually get into the low 50s for a very brief time, along with maybe some strong and damaging southerly winds before a cold front comes in. And of course, as we get into Sunday, we're going to start to see our temperatures go down as you get into that Christmas Eve time frame, and we may see an introduction of some snowflakes mixed in with the rain. Now, on Monday, on Christmas Day itself, we do have a chance of it being kind of messy, especially if you're out very early in the morning for Christmas Day services at all. We could see a little bit of rain, maybe mixed with snow and freezing rain. So keep that in mind. Just be prepared. As we head in, though, afterwards, if you're going back out to the mall starting on Tuesday, bringing any gifts back that you didn't really want, we're going to see our temperatures start to plummet. And we're going to actually see, by the time we get to Thursday, maybe the chance of some snow again as we see a real Arctic cold front come into the Burlington area. And beyond this, getting into New Year's weekend, we may only see highs in the low teens. So keep that in mind. We really are going to have a feel of winter going into the end of 2017. So everyone, I want to wish you a very happy holiday season. Stay safe out there and have a great week.
Hello, I'm Maddie Shipka, and this is your community calendar. Wingardium Leviosa. On Thursday, December 28th, from 1 to 4 p.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having a Harry Potter movie day. Come by the library with your friends and enjoy any Harry Potter movie. The event is for kids in grades 3 through 12. There will also be popcorn. No registration necessary, and the event is free. For more information, please visit burlington.org or call 781-270-1690. Grab yourself and get ready for a world of pure imagination. On Sunday, December 31st, Kings on 3rd Ave will be having a Willy Wonka-themed New Year's Eve party all day and night. There will also be food and drink specials, live DJ, and dancing and much more. Everyone is welcome. For more information and to register for the event, please visit kingsbowlamerica.com or call 781-238-4400. Come listen to some music from the famous Rat Pack. On Sunday, December 31st from 8 p.m. to midnight, Tuscan Kitchen at the District will be having a Rat Pack New Year's Eve night. The night will consist of a dinner and live music inspired by Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., and the chairman of the board himself, Frank Sinatra, with Mike Dutra and the Strictly Sinatra Rat Pack Band. Everyone is welcome. Pre-registration and payment is required. For more information and to register, visit TuscanBrands.com. I'm Maddie Shipka, and this has been your Community Calendar.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you, Maddie. The winter sports season is now underway. For the latest Red Devils action, we go to BNEWS sports reporter Matt DiMarzio for this week's sports report.
Hey everyone, this is Matt DiMarzio here with your weekly sports report. The winter season is off and running at Burlington High, and there's already been plenty of excitement. Burlington High Wrestling sent its varsity team to 2 different tournaments last weekend. 6 Red Devils competed at the Thomas Chickenus Memorial Tournament in Hudson Falls, New York, with great results. Freshman twins Cam and Zach Soda each upset one of the 2 top seeds to reach the finals, where they were crowned co-champions at the 99-pound weight class. Freshman Joe Perna, 113 pounds, won all 3 of his matches at 113 to win a title. Perna beat Marcus Baroa of Guilderland, New York by a 4-1 score in the finals. Senior captain Josh Lee, 138 pounds, had 3 first-period pins, including pinning Cody Duell of Shenandoah, New York, in 111 to win the title. Lee was awarded the Outstanding Wrestling Award for his efforts. Senior captain Josh Becker, 160 pounds, won his first 2 matches, including a win over David McFarland of Salem, Cambridge, New York, 5-3 to reach the finals. In the finals, Becker lost 8-1 to top-seeded Jake McRail of Shenandoah, New York. Freshman Ryan McGilvery, 120 pounds, started his day with a win over Dylan Blanchard of Guilderland, 6-0, before losing to the top seed and the number 4 seed in his next 2 matches. Burlington finished 6th out of 13 teams. 5 other Red Devil wrestlers competed in the Tingsboro Big Red Tournament. Senior captain Colin Maroney, 120 pounds, won 3 out of 4 matches, including a third-period pin over Tingsboro's Cody Bochinus to capture 3rd place. Junior Sean McGilvery also won 3 out of 4 matches, including a pin over Evan Haskins of Pelham, New Hampshire, in the 2nd period to capture 3rd place. Senior Dylan McKinnon completed the trio of 3rd place finishers for Burlington by also winning 3 matches. His final match 3-2 over Jake Marash of Westford Academy. Sophomore George Haddad, 160, has a pin but didn't reach the podium. Burlington finished 8th out of 13 teams in Tingsboro. And that's all for now. I'm Matt DiMarzio. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Matt. Another week, another photo to highlight. This week's photo shows a festive holiday gathering. It was sent in by Rabbi Susan Abramson and shows her with some children during a high baby Hanukkah celebration at Temple Shalom Ameth here in Burlington. The celebration is for families with preschool-aged children to get together, light the menorah, and celebrate the holiday. Thanks for the photo, Susan. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of something you see around town, the weather outside, your own door, or even photos of your family members and pets. Whatever you think is interesting and would like to share. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line, Photo of the Week. Well, that's it for this week's edition of BNews Weekly. I'm Linda McNamee. Merry Christmas.